Alright, hello and welcome back everybody. So last time we did Black Fathom Depths, we made 5 gold and 12 silver. I noted that down already, so we can reset this. The gold is increasing still, so that's a good sign. Now we're going to do Gnomeregan, everybody's favorite dungeon. We're gonna do it at 24. I don't know at what level we did it last time, but the final boss in this dungeon is level 28. Let's confirm that. Confirmed, he is level 28, which means doing it at 24 is appropriate. I think maybe last time we did it at 30, which was a grave mistake because the dungeon was super easy, and as we've seen so far, doing the dungeons at 4 levels below the level of the final boss does provide quite a challenge, and we are wiping sometimes, and all of these wipes are preventable, and they're also proving that what I said all along from the very beginning, exactly what I wanted. There's still room for you to contribute. There's still like 10%, 10, 15, 20, 25% of the fight for you to step in and do your own thing, do your job. Of course, we are doing these dungeons at a lower level. If you wanted to, of course, you could do it at the level 30. Though that would kind of defeat the point because the gear you'd get would not be so high. Even though we've seen from the previous dungeons that doing it at such a low level, kind of an entry level, you get gear that you cannot even equip, so that's something for you to consider. Nonetheless, I looked at the issue that we had last time with the rogue not attacking. It was a bug in my logic. I fixed it. Okay, no other details are necessary. It was just an issue. Cool. We looked at the warrior DPS, and I would like us to keep looking at the warrior DPS. I think we've seen some improvements last time. The way he was using cleave and everything, it seemed like a good idea. So all the further fixes and adjustments we've made to his rotation there with rage pulling seemed to have worked. What I would like to do is let's try the warrior again and to compare it with the hunter, because the hunter has been the undisputed, undefeated champion of every single dungeon we've done so far. So we're gonna do that again. We used the bear tank last time and he performed admirably. Like, we had no issue. Damage was maybe 75% that of the DPS guys, which is very good and solid. We did run into one strange situation where he charged even though he was put on stay, but it was near water, so I guess we'll keep an eye on that if it happens again. And we talked about the fact that the druids are using healing potions while they are in bear form, because that's how I made it, and I said that I'm not too sure if that's a good idea because obviously it's not allowed in the game, you have to leave the form. We can spend 1 hour talking about this situation, but for now let's go with the warrior. I may have to renege that though. I may have to walk back the fact that they can use potions in form, even though we can argue about it for a long time, just because it breaks. Oh, it breaks it. Well, it destabilizes, let's say. It destabilizes the balance with the other classes, namely with the warrior tank, whom we've seen so far doesn't deal the greatest amount of damage, struggles a little bit with threat and everything. But, what the warrior tank provides are excellent tools that are not measurable in terms of DPS. So if we make the bear too good when he's already good with the threat and everything, then we may have a problem, especially considering the fact that the bear is way simpler to play than the warrior. I would say it's half as or twice as easy to play than the warrior tank. I don't know. let's try between the paladin and the shaman. I don't know. Can we roll? Like roll 2? Okay, paladin it is. Cool. We're gonna go with the paladin tank. We're gonna use a warrior so we don't need the other thingy. What else do we need here? There are a bunch of humanoids. I don't know. Let's choose something between priest healer and druid healer. Let's roll 2. Druid healer it is. I don't particularly care which at the moment. I guess we're just gonna go through all of them eventually as many times as we can, just to ensure that every step of the way things work. And we have seen that it's very productive. Even in the last run in BFD, right at the very end, we found a very significant bug with the rogue not being able to use abilities even though he was in range, which actually was a pretty big problem because it affected it affected all the companions and in ways, in situations that you wouldn't expect. So that was a very good thing to find, a very good thing to fix, and we did that. So let's go with the warrior DPS and let's go with the hunter. We're gonna mark things as we do. It's very important to find the appropriate color for all the marks. If you've watched the video so far, then you know that I mark them every time just to make them easier to track and to spot. Yeah, when they're fighting in some big crowds of mobs, it can be a little bit tricky. Cool. We're gonna look a little bit at the warrior rotation, and then we'll figure out what else we're gonna do. Okay. So Battle Shout, Blood Rage. He's still 24, so he doesn't have Berserker stance yet. He's still fighting in Battle stance, which makes things a bit easier for him. I appreciate the use of Cleave. He switched to Heroic once it was single target. That's fine. And look at that, everybody. Call me crazy. Yeah, this is why we spend so much time trying to figure out all these little details and things like that. You see, the damage has equalized a little bit, and that is because he was not correctly doing the rotation and things. So by fixing all of these small things, one small thing at a time, they accumulate, and it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. Yeah. So the proof is in the pudding. Rend on high HP targets, that's okay. Let's see if the rend falls off by the end, which would be nice, right? Perfect, exactly. So in terms of damage per rage spent, rend is pretty good, and they're supposed to use it. I think they're rage pulling for it, so they need maybe like 30 or something rage to use it, and the target needs to be above 75%. I don't remember if I put a time to kill on the rend. I guess I can look into it while... of course, I keep forgetting these things, also because my memory is not great, but also because it's a lot to go through, and by making so many changes, I lose track of them. I have many versions in my head. Yes, I did put the time to kill. I checked for 12 seconds on top of everything else. Yeah, we talked about it in the previous video. I'm checking for he's pulling for the rage, and he's pulling for, he's looking for the HP. That's perfect, and it seemed to work. Oh, he got execute now. That's cool. But it is more or less what you'd expect, like nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary. We're gonna look at it a little bit more, but then we're gonna look at maybe the druid healer, because it's been a while. I just wanna make sure that everything is according to plan. We can see the paladin tank, he now has consecration and he drops it down. He's down ranking consecration when he's trying to get the enemies grouped up. So if the okay, so let's flip the argument. If all the enemies are grouped up, he's gonna use the highest rank. If they're not all grouped up and there's at least 3 of them, he's gonna drop rank 1. Just so as he's moving along to pick everybody up, he drops a smaller rank. It doesn't need to do a lot of damage, just kind of tag them a little bit. So he's running around, dropping rank 1, pulling them all together, and once he has all of them together, he drops the max rank. That's the idea there. And in practice it works pretty well, if for no other reason but because he saves up a little bit of mana. If you drop max rank every time, you'll obviously find, I don't don't know what's going on. If you drop max rank every time, you're gonna have mana issues. I didn't see what happened there, but yeah, I blame it on movement issues. As you know, those are not fun at all. I appreciate the mocking blow from the warrior. You can see he's trying to peel for the rest of his group. So if for example, the mobs will go for either the druid healer or myself, I suppose, or for the rogue. Oh, we don't have a rogue. For the hunter, then the warrior would taunt just to peel off, which is very, very useful. I mean, he's not taunting, he's mocking blowing. The difference is mocking blow is used in battle stance and taunting in defensive stance. And I'm not sending him in defensive stance because it would be very difficult to leave it, right? Especially if you don't have the mastery talents, the ones from the defensive. Is it defensive? Yeah, it's the defensive talent tree. So if you don't have those, then it makes it even more difficult to leave. Well, you can leave it if you want to do it yourself. You're just gonna lose the rage, but they account for that, and they don't switch unless they have less or equal the rage of the allowed mastery, let's say stance dancing, whatever, which by default is 10, and you can increase it to 25 with the talents, with the 3 talent points from the defensive mastery. Yeah, so he's just gonna use mocking blow. I think it's enough. Paladins, and you've seen last time in the last video, druid cats, whilst being below level 20, they're gonna also taunt. I don't remember the shamans, probably not, because they don't have an actual taunt. But the other, oops. Yeah, we're gonna have a problem here. Yeah, they killed Emmy, everybody, because I was talking. Okay. I'm sorry, Emmy. I just got caught talking, and it's not really that important how we do this mission. It actually takes a long time. We cannot heal her. That's the problem. I checked. So if you try to heal her yourself, you'll see that you cannot do it. I don't really know. It's maybe the way she was tagged as, you know, not healable. Maybe it's a thing. So I guess I'm sorry, Emmy. It is what it is. Let me turn GM off because I want to have an easier time attacking these guys. Still floating weird movement issues. Ignore those for now. I don't know. Like I said, it will take an exaggerated amount of time on top of the exaggerated. I've spent hundreds of hours trying to figure this out, and I still haven't. So I don't know if I ever will. It's complicated, yes. So we're gonna leave it alone. Okay, I am satisfied with the warrior. Oh, it looks like the damage is, yeah. Damn hunters, eh? I did say that maybe we should keep randomizing the warrior until he gets a good weapon, and his weapon is a little bit behind as usual. That's kind of normal, but the hunter's weapon is also behind, so it is what it is, yes. As long as he plays correctly, What can I do? Let's look at the paladin because we have time. We're gonna take it one by one and just look at all of them. Yeah, you can see he dropped rank 1. I don't think he actually has a higher rank than 1, does he? At 24? That's probably the only rank he has, but... I see him using Purity. I guess he's dispelling the poisons. Though I'm kind of surprised he did this during combat. Apart from that, what he's doing is he's judging as a taunt. So if he needs to taunt something, he just judges it. And he doesn't judge it when there are multiple enemies. So if, let's say, as it just happened, there were 3 enemies, and one of them broke loose, then he judged it. And if nobody's breaking loose, so he's holding all of them, then he's not gonna judge any of them. If he's only fighting one enemy, then he's going to judge him. Why is he not judging more often when he's fighting multiple enemies? Because he maybe needs it as a taunt. That's kind of the issue there. And in practice it does seem to work relatively well. And it is what it is. If he would judge on cooldown, then it could happen that sometimes he could not have anything to taunt in a pinch. Yeah, more hunter pulls and things. So I guess if you remember, we talked a little bit about it in the previous video. I said something like the rogue, he's doing more damage than the warrior, because what sort of utility does the rogue provide? Well, nothing much really. Yeah, just damage, right? He's putting talents into more damage, more and more damage, so mainly he's just providing damage. So you should expect him to deal more damage than, say, a warrior. If he doesn't, then you might ask yourself, well, why am I bringing a rogue? Like, what's the point? So you want him to be a little bit ahead. And maybe it's the same as true for the hunter to some degree, even though the hunter, well, he has the pet, and the pet actually does provide some off-tanking here and there. If we look at damage taken, well, yes, and this, we can see that the pet has tanked half as much as the actual tank, because the pet is going around, he's trying to pick off stragglers, he's growling and all this jazz, so the pet is contributing. And actually, you know what? I want to see how much damage the pet does relative to the hunter, just for curiosity. Well, we can see the pet deals like 40% of the hunter's damage, so that's a really good amount. Even more so considering that the hunter is not investing into pet talents, he's investing into marksmanship. So if you were to invest into pet talents, then all the better. In fact, yeah, considering the damage, if you look at it this way, right, like the warrior damage compared to the hunter damage, you can see the warrior doing more, and it's really the pet that bridges the gap. So if you were to invest into Beast Mastery, considering how strong these pets are, and Beast Mastery, not only does it increase the damage of the pet, but it also increases his survivability, so you could have even tankier pets. Let's see. Right, so he's going for this sort of thing. I'm not sure about rapid killing, but I suppose that, well, he is doing a lot of damage. I'm wondering if he's actually getting less hits. That I don't know. I guess, look, he got it over there, right? Your next aim shot, arcane shot, or auto shot causes 20% additional damage. I honestly don't know how big that is, and I suspect it may not be that big. But your other options are what? I suppose concussive shot is not terrible. I don't think they use it that often though. I mean, I do know they use it. They use it to peel for themselves and for others. I just don't think they use it as part of their normal rotation. So it's rather arguable. This is more like if you're doing solo content is good, right? Because if you're doing solo content, then you're going to use this very, very often, and especially on opening against the mob. And it's also good for PvP, but that's a completely different topic. And then you have efficiency, and this one is not, well, it's not too impressive. I suppose if you could put 2 points into that, yeah, well, the companions, they have their drinking poops and whatever, so they don't really have any sort of mana sustain issue. Well, I mean, the fights are just not that long, so it justifies investing more into mana reduction, and in between the fights they can simply drink, and that's alright. So that one would be better perhaps if we were talking about very long fights, which usually don't happen. If you're playing with, again, in the open world, it certainly will not happen, for the simple reason that you're going to have at least a 2-man party, and a 2-man party is plenty of damage to handle, like the vast majority of the open world quests and situations, with the exception of the elites and whatnots. And that's, yeah, I mean, for elites you're gonna probably go with almost a full party or even a full party, in which case we're in the same situation as we are now, so it wouldn't really matter. Arcane shot is not particularly amazing. I mean, if you look at the damage dealt, I mean, he has aim shot, so he won't even be using arcane shot. So arcane shot is not great either. So there's really just not other places that are that much better to invest into. So it's arguable, I suppose. I think this is why, now that I think about it, this is probably why the hunters are so good in TPC. Just somehow the pets are much better. I don't know, maybe it's just the pet talents, or because the pets have talents, spells assigned to them, all the jazz. They have logic for using all their spells, which is more than we have done for vanilla. So maybe this is why the pets seem a little bit stronger to me. And you saw that, relatively speaking, the hunter's own damage is would be lower than the warriors, but because of the pet it is higher. So invest in your pets if you're playing a hunter. It's apparently very good. I'm not paying too much attention to where I'm going, so I'm just hoping. They keep pulling things through the ground, so there's some issues there. Some issues I don't like. Okay, they keep doing this, and I don't get it. Let's just keep them on stay. Okay, more ground issues and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. What can I tell you? And I don't know how to fix it. It's an entirely separate thing. The server has many parts to it. It's difficult to know everything. And the movement and the game world, let's say, itself, all of this stuff is beyond my head, because I'm not spending my time working on that. You see what I'm doing, so yeah, there's some line of sight issues. let's pull them back because I think the hunter is way up there. Alright, so what else is happening with the paladin? He's using Purify to I'm surprised that he's doing it during combat. If we look at the spells... Oh, he's removing Irradiated. What is that? Exactly. Is it a disease or... Does it say here? It doesn't say. Yeah, it's a disease. What does it do? Nature damage. I mean, it's not the worst thing that can happen to you. But I suppose if you leave it untreated, I don't know how long it lasts. Several seconds or minutes. If you leave it too long, it could be problematic. But I'm not sure if you should be dispelling it all that often. Okay, the boss is way over there and is also level 28. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the later parts of this dungeon will be pretty tough. As have all the other ones when we're doing them a little bit under leveled. Which is good for testing. Maybe not so good if you were to run this yourself, but still good for testing. Well, I am curious how it would go if you were to run this yourself. You'll probably be fine, is my intuition telling me. The hunter is healing the pet, I think, out of combat when the pet is below 100%, and in combat when the pet is below 50%. So he's just gonna throw a mend pet at it. So I don't know if this current healing was done in combat or out of combat. But the paladin is like, yeah, he's not struggling too much to hold the aggro. Once he drops a consecration, pretty much takes care of itself. Alright, Paladin is doing good. Let's set debug off and look at what the druid is doing. We can see that the druid has applied thorns, and in conjunction with the retribution aura is quite good. And it seems to give quite a lot of damage return or retaliation. So the two of them combined does make it quite easier for the paladin to hold aggro, even though he was already good at it. So these are things you should consider, especially if you want to run with something like a shaman tank for some reason. You might want to look into this. You either get the warlock because the pet gives fire shield and you get the druid, or you can go with the paladin, but if it's not a paladin tank, he doesn't prioritize using that aura. So you might have to look at different auras, such as, I mean, you might have to manually set him to cast a different aura. So you whisper him set aura, what's it called, retribution aura, and then he'll manually cast that, keep that up. I mean, the paladins do coordinate between themselves, so if you had 4 or more than one paladin in the group, then they would coordinate. So one of them may cast like a determination aura, one of them may cast the retribution aura. They'll just know, right? So if you had 2 tanks and the first aura for them to cast would be a retribution one, the first one would cast retribution and the second one would probably cast devotion or something of that nature. Alright. The druid seems to be doing what you'd expect the druid to be doing. A lot of down ranking of the healing touch, which is good for mana reservation or conservation, let's say. He's using hots on the tank, so he's only hotting the tank, nobody else, because I consider hots not to be an efficient heal in terms of mana spent or what you get. The advantage of that is that it creates a little bit of padding, so it gives you time to do other things. So you start by hotting the tank and then you have time to heal your DPS guys, because now the tank can take a few hits while you're doing other things. If healing touch or rejuvenation lasts for well, it doesn't say, but like 12 seconds or something plus, then you have time to cast like 3 heals or something, and then you go back to the tank and you see to him. That's kind of the idea. If you put this on a DPS who's usually not being attacked, well, he may get slapped a little bit, but he's not consistently being attacked. Yeah, I knew this would happen. I just purposefully let it happen just so we see what happens. But obviously they're gonna pull a lot more, which this may be a wipe. When we did this at level 30, I did even comment on it and I said if this was if my party was any lower level, then they probably would have pulled this whole entire thing and wiped. And that's exactly what's going on here. It's surprising that they're still hanging on though. If we had the paladin, I feel like he would have died way before this point. So they are doing a pretty good job, all things considered. Except that now the healer has run out of mana and it is what it is. If you would throw a dynamite in this situation, you'd probably win. So look, they're all half HP. One lousy dynamite and you'd be fine. Again, the hunter is going places, he's doing bad stuff. One dynamite or just participate yourself. If you were some kind of off-healing type situation, you could have off-healed and kept that tank alive and going, and little by little the mobs would have died. If you had used consumables, again, just a little bit of extra damage could have helped there. So I enjoy this. I think it's good. It may seem bad, the fact that we wiped, but to me it looks like an opportunity. And one thing you can also do, you could, before coming to the dungeon, maybe you do a little bit of a crafting session. I don't know, maybe you need to level up some of your crafting professions, and you look into crafting some level 30 something, well, not 30, 20 something sword, because this guy has a level 16 sword or whatever, X. So maybe you look into a higher level weapon, yeah, and that would increase his damage maybe by 1 to 2%, I don't know. So it's maybe 1% there and 1% you're using some cheap consumables because you're doing your professions. And little by little it just adds up, and it could make all the difference. You saw many times, it's just that the healer runs out of mana like barely as the fight is over. The DPS is almost killing the enemies just barely, right? So anything above that would probably push you over the threshold where you can actually pull a little bit more and more dangerous. So those are certainly things to consider. And this part is going to be the hardest, and it's from memory, I think it's always been the hardest doing this dungeon, especially when you're a little bit under leveled. If you come here with the hunter, I personally would just make him stay. You see, these guys are not really going places, but the hunter keeps tending to move backwards, and he may pull the guys towards the center there, which is not fantastic. And if you really want to be extra sure, then yeah, you can make everybody stay here sort of in a corner, and just make sure you keep this other corner for the hunter. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a hassle to have to control them like this, but you know, I have done this dungeon many times with other people, like with real people, and I've played all sorts of things, healer, tank, DPS, you name it, and I have wiped so many times here. You might say, oh, the companions, they're, I don't know, doing whatever. Believe me, people would wipe even more. I promise you, we're gonna wipe way less with these companions than I have ever wiped with real people. If for no other reason, but because the companions at least know how to play their character. So that in of itself is a major advantage. They're not cracking under pressure. Like, people in certain situations, they stop focusing, or they're not paying attention, or they're under pressure. They see 50 mobs and they're panicking and thinking they're about to wipe. The companions just keep their cool and keep pumping, bro. And yeah, that makes a difference. Many times, I think, it makes a difference. Because a lot of the times it really comes down to small little things that keep stacking up or adding up. The disadvantage is it takes a long time. It truly does, to run this at lower level. And there's not much else to say, is there? Because they are doing the things. I'm watching out for things that maybe are a little bit unpredictable. But yeah, they're just doing the things they're supposed to be doing. You can see the healer, he's also meleeing a little bit, and you might wonder if that's worth it, and we can see it's doing, I don't know, 7.2%. Did we play with what? He was like a paladin last time, right? And he was doing 8%, and he was dropping consecrations as well, which makes him quite valuable. Well, yeah, nope. Nope. They done it again. They done did it again. Ah. Where did he go through the ground again? Yes, of course he did. And of course they pulled more stuff and things. Can we jump over the ledge? Because I normally don't do jumps. I'm not too familiar with skips. I typically don't like to skip when I play myself. I like to clear everything, but we've already done this dungeon, so it's nothing new. That's the thing. We know it works, and the companion seems to be doing the correct things. Maybe we can look a little bit at the overhealing. I'm sorry. Where is it going now? Why is everybody like running around? What is this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, it's very good chance that you might pick up a bunch of these guys when you're low level. Because they are patrolling around down there. So what you're supposed to be doing in reality, and the way I do it with people, is that we just hug the wall. And yeah, you can hug the wall as well. Maybe just don't bring a hunter, because kind of, yeah, you'll have more work for yourself. Bring something else, anything but the hunter, and just keep them on stay on the wall, and they'll just attack all together. But yeah, this is something you need to plan ahead for. You need to know what you're doing. I particularly don't care, because bad situations like these really just provide an opportunity to see how they're doing under pressure. The druid is surprisingly good with the mana. I'm very, very impressed with him. Even though he seems to be overhealing a lot, which is confusing to me. But I'm not sure when. That's the problem. I don't know when he's doing it, because I've talked to you about the way they're doing the down ranking in a previous video, and it's possible that they may be overhealing outside of combat. I don't know for sure. What we could do is we can reset the whole thing and just see what happens during combat. Because out of combat, I do want them to overheal a little bit, just in the interest of saving some time. This part is an excellent situation where if you had some bombs or a dynamite, yeah, you'd be going through these guys a little bit faster. They're not dangerous because they're normal instead of elites, but they are tedious, especially at low level where you don't have a lot of AoE situations. Maybe if you had the mage or some, but yeah, you see what the situation is. Can we jump? I think you can jump, and I think we're gonna jump because I don't want to fight through all of these guys. We're gonna make less money by skipping, but I don't need a perfect representation, let's say. I think you're supposed to jump here. And if I remember correctly, it's somewhere... Oh, whew, level 30. Boy, that one's gonna take a while. Oh, no. Whatever that is, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, you can see the spider is taking a little bit of damage. You saw the healer just now heal the spider. Pets have like a giant a malice, let's say, when it comes to healing priority. The companions will not prioritize healing the pets. So if it ever happens, you know that it's basically he had like the priest or the healer had nothing better to do than to do this. So it's not a priority. Oh, I did. Oh, hold on. It didn't actually increase. It was like 11.8 or something, or was it 10.8? Let's reset this in the next pull, just so we can see if he's doing overhealing when in combat. And actually, let's see if he's gonna do it out of combat as well, which he should. I'm confused as to he keeps trying to heal me, but he fails. I don't know why. I mean, normally that shouldn't happen. Even if I had GM on, if he cannot, he should not. So I don't know why he's failing. That could be an issue. Alright, so let's reset and just watch the overheal. Okay, so 26 with rejuvenation. I don't care about rejuvenation over healing. That's normal. And that's supposed to happen, yeah. Let's focus on this guy because he's lower level, so he's gonna die faster. Healing touch. Yeah. I'm not happy about this. Yeah. He keeps doing it. Wait. Oh. Let's reset again. Let's watch who is he overhealing on. Ivar. Was that rejuve? No, it was healing touch. It was also 24. Notice that. That's the tick of the rejuvenation, right? So he overhealed because of that. What is happening? Do you see this? He keeps trying to heal Telara here, and he cancels. And he healed me with an overheal out of combat. That's correct. But why was he canceling it? I thought it was related to me being a GM, but no, apparently he's doing it with the hunter as well. So there's some issue there. I don't know what it is. Man, every run we keep finding issues like this. I swear to God. How is this possible? This is one of the hardest parts of Gnomeregan. I think this part. Here you really should be hugging the walls, because there's a very good probability you're gonna pull these guys down here, and they're even tougher than the guys previous because they're higher level. And also their demise, you're supposed to destroy those or just move away. They deal very high damage. You know what? During the next fight, let's just purposefully damage Telara. I'm curious. Okay. Yeah, that will keep happening. We should. It kind of sucks because I don't want to pay attention to this. Wait, these mines are not actually doing damage. Do you see this? These mines should be doing damage. A lot of it. So I don't know what's going on there. But that's fishy. They should be kicking our ass, basically. Okay, I want them to kill this one iron agent. Right, you saw that. It's not just my imagination. He keeps canceling. He keeps casting and canceling, and I'm not sure why. After the video, I'll need to test this basically. And this is not gonna be a fun part. Crap. All right, let's pull back, I think. And we will need to just be on stay near the wall. There's no other option. Alright, well, geez, dude, this is gonna take forever. Look at how long it takes them to kill these guys. Jesus. Boy, oh boy. Oh, don't let this hunter go off. We're gonna have a terrible time. Yeah. 5 minutes later. Oh. One down, everybody. Come on, man. I almost even leveled up. Look at this. Almost 25. Crazy amount of XP. For sure. Alright, I may have to just GM kill these guys. It's taking way too long. I don't know, these guys have extreme tank. I mean, they are robots, but boy, that is way too long. And I may have to go and look into what's going on with cutting off heals there. That's what I'm gonna do after the video. Yeah, there's something strange about those landmines. They're supposed to be doing pretty good damage, but that doesn't look like good damage to me. It looks like they're duds. They're not actually working. Yeah, I'm just gonna learn GM spells and just kill these guys. It's taking way too long, and nothing is happening. That's the problem. I'm fairly confident that if we pull them near the wall like this, we can kill all of them. It's just it's taking too long, and I'm not gaining any. He was doing with Zephyrin here too. So there's something strange going on. You can see him. He's casting it and he's interrupting it. So I'm more curious into figuring out why that happens. And I cannot fix it as we're recording because I have to... yeah, I have to look into it. It's not gonna be one of those easy fixes. So let's just kill everybody. And let's fight the boss. Fuck. I should also loot them because we need to look into this. Yeah, the problem is they're all the same. So if we can fight one pack, I'm sure we can fight the others. It's not any different. It would be yeah, an exercise in futility. What we maybe could do is we can, well, here let's do it fairly here. Let's say, do we have any CCs? Not really, not that much. These guys are pretty tanky, so I guess we're still gonna stick with these. There's no specific CCs for mechanical units, as far as I know. Let's get this hunter, because, yeah, I don't know. If he's going to be kiting in the opposite direction, we may have a bad day here. Yeah, Serpent, Sting, and Rend can still be useful in every now and then. Well, okay then. These guys are not necessarily dangerous because they're normal. But I would still highly recommend that you bring a dynamite or two. Or just one, really. You just need one. Make all the difference. And really, if you had the dynamite, these guys would die quicker. Or some consumables of kind. I'm specifically not going to be using them anymore, but I'm going to be pointing them out because, yeah, it is what it is. But we have used them in the previous videos and we have seen firsthand what the difference is. And we notice it even now, the difference between throwing one dynamite and using some consumables and not doing it. There shouldn't be a problem here, so long as the paladin gets a chance to consecrate. That's probably gonna take care of itself. I think I forgot about my hunter. Yeah, I put him there and I forgot about him. Well, these bombs are also supposed to be very strong. Wow, I did not expect them to handle that. Pretty cool. But they're supposed to deal a lot of damage, and I suspect they're not for some reason. Okay, they are. Okay, cool. I don't know. Then those mines were busted somehow. Yep, the bombs are working. Well, we can prevent this guy from taking damage by just moving him away. Okay then. Not very eventful dungeon. I guess the only problem we have found is this. Well, not the only problem. There's the mine problem as well. But companion-wise, I'm gonna look into why was the healer, specifically the druid, interrupting his heals. Like, I don't know, halfway through. They're supposed to be interrupting, but in the situation where if they're trying to prevent overhealing and wait a moment, hold on a second. I put the overhealing, so if they were going to overheal, they would stop at around I don't know, 75% of the HP. So I don't know, they would try to not waste more than 25% of the heal, something like that. And maybe that's just a little bit too crazy, or maybe I told them to stop too late. I need to look more into this. It may be related because I did some changes for the precasting. So I'll look into this and we'll see what I managed to do in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.